Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. It's Alan Barry Labacan here with the Rocks and Stocks News website. I've got another in our series of shows called In the News. This is where I break down recent news by companies I'm following. So we're going to get right to it and start with a screen share. The first news that I wanted to talk about today comes from a brand new sponsor that's only been joined the sponsorship website sponsorship program a couple weeks ago, and not long after they started drilling. And in their first hole today, they announced that True Precious Metals drills visible gold at the Golden Rose project. This is very important because they're looking for high-grade gold, and when you find visible gold, it can often be an indicator that you're finding that high-grade gold. Now, of course, they have to do the assay results, but later in the news release, you're going to see some of that gold. So it looks pretty good. The founder and CEO of the company, Joel Friedman, said, "We're ecstatic to report that multiple specks of visible gold have been observed in a completed drill hole in our recently announced drill program at Golden Rose." Then he goes on, "We look forward to reporting additional results as drilling continues." So they're continuing to drill more holes. This was just the first hole so far. What's important about this project, and I'm going to go back and show you some of their maps on their website, but basically the Valentine Lake shear zone, this big crustal structure, comes right through the property. But what really got me excited about this project is down at this end of the claim blocks, there's a sort of a double hinge to that big structure, that big crustal structure. And that's where there had been some previous drilling. As you can see here, these yellow dots are the historical drill holes. They started drilling this 05 is the one that hit the visible gold that you can see in this image here. I hope my face is out of the way. But as you can see, there's some nice gold in that quartz vein. There's another image down below. There's a couple images down below, but before I get onto that, I wanted to have a look here. So the bulk of the drill holes had been done over to the west here. And this 05 was the one that hit, was the most easterly. Now, as you can see over here, there's less drilling. But when I'm going to show you that structure that does the double hinge, this is this as it drops down here again. So this is quite an interesting hole for a couple of reasons. Out of all of those holes that had been drilled in the past, none of them had ever hit visible gold before. The other thing about these orogenic deposits is that sometimes it takes a lot of work to tag into that the high grade portion of an orogenic system. For example, out in Australia at Kirkland Lake's Fosterville mine, they mined there for 20 years before they found the Swan Zone. The Swan Zone made them one of the lowest cost producers of gold in the gold mining business. That's how rich these systems can be, but they're quite small relative to big tonnage open pit targets. They're smaller veins, but they're extremely rich. And finding high-grade gold or finding visible gold indicates to me that they've got something to vector in on and chase now with the drilling, to chase it deeper and along strike of that outward from that visible gold hit. So as you go down in the news release, you'll see here's another image. You can see a little bit of sulfides here. This is the quartz vein. And then you've got some nice distribution of gold there, invisible gold. Here's another one. I believe this is a little bit of sulfides here. Nice chunk of visible gold there. You know, in veins, it's not, even in high grade, it's systems, you don't always see visible gold. So I think that even though there's been some drilling around this, as I said, I certainly wouldn't dismiss this, because I think this is a major step forward for the project, hitting that that visible gold. Now I'm going to go to their project section. Here's Golden Rose, and there's a couple important things to check out here. It's in the map gallery, actually. So you go to their map gallery, and here's an image of the, where is it? Sorry, I'm just working my way through here. Okay, so here is the some of the big deep crustal structures in Newfoundland. Now, a lot of people have heard about Newfound Gold or their Queensway project. This is over on what's called the Appleton Fault. Sokoman Minerals, which is one of my website sponsors, they have this. This is on the Valentine Lake Fault. Down here, Marathon Gold has what looks like it is a multi-million ounce resource in the measured and indicated. And it's sitting right on the right on that Valentine Lake shear zone as well. And then Golden Rose is right here, and basically all the ground in between Valentine Lake. Here's the Valentine project, and here's True's project. And again, it's right on that key structure. But I wanted to show folks something that's got me quite excited. I think it's on this map. Sorry, I'm just going through their maps here to get the right one so I can show you. You see, here's an interesting thing. This is the fault going through the system at Marathon. And it's right in this hinge here where they found the mineralization. And the reason for that is that that's what prepares the rock for the juices from the fluids from deeper to make their way up to near surface deposits. Now, I wanted to, there's a later map. And of course, I can't find it right at the moment. Let me go, I know where it is. It's on their corporate presentation. So let's go to investors. We'll go to the corporate presentation. I'll load that up. I think I'll load that. Oh, here it is. Load that up. I think I'll load that up. Okay, so follow me down here and show you what I mean about this double hinge. Of course, I can't find the dang map now that I'm looking for, but I'll go back up to the main map and I'll show you where it is. So as you get down to this southern end of the claim, you'll find that it kind of follows this main structure, but then at the bottom of it, it kind of hinges, it drops straight south, then it goes to the east, and then it drops south again. That double hinge zone is what really excited me and why I invited the company to become part of my website sponsorship program, is because I felt that they had a high probability of hitting. And here they are, and they're early in their drilling, and they banged out some really nice stuff, nice looking stuff in their first hole. As you can see, they've done a lot of prep work in this map or in this gallery And so I think they're onto something serious. I think they've got a potential for an orogenic gold deposit. I think this is great sign that they've got a way to vector in. Again, these can be kind of hidden. They're not easy to find. You can drill around it and miss it because they tend to be so high grade. But I think they've tagged into it now, and they can start taking a more of a direct approach to chasing more of that high grade. So take a look at True Precious Metals. Look at their website. They've got a lot of good stuff in here. Do your homework, because this one still has a very modest valuation. And right now, Newfoundland high-grade gold exploration has the market's attention. And even you look at their stock, it looks like it's recently made a double bottom, and looks now that they've got the potential catalysts out there that can move it higher. So True, TRU is their symbol. TruePreciousMetals.com is their website. Do your homework. Next up is High Gold Mining. I recently had an interview with High Gold Mining's Darwin Green, and you can find it on my website at rocksandstocksnews.com. And on our YouTube channel as well. You just go to Rocks and Stocks News on YouTube. Just do a search. It's all one word, Rocks and Stocks News. It was the last interview I did just a few days ago. And then they had news out today. In that interview, we talked mainly about their new discovery up in Alaska. But then we closed off the last 10 or 15 minutes talking about their project in Timmins, Ontario. What makes this that whole Abitibi Greenstone belt it's hard to get big chunks of projects in there. And what they were able to do is they were able to get a really good group of claims in several deals. It took them to consolidate it. There was a patchwork of claims on a key part of that structure. And nobody had done much of the way of work because it was a patchwork of claims. But there was an old mine on that, and that old mine had some phenomenally high grade. It was a small mine, but it was high grade in veins, quartz veins, and it had a strong structural story. There's probably multiple veins around that old gold mine. They didn't really do any exploration to follow it further. They were basically following the mine. And it's my understanding they hit the fault, and that's probably what stopped them from doing work. Just today, High Gold announced that they've started drilling on that project that hosts this big or very high grade gold mine. And it's in part of the Timmins Gold Camp, which is one of the most important gold camps in the world. 100 million ounces of gold have come from that Timmins Gold Camp. And what makes it quite exciting is if you look at, so here's the big faults that there's one to the north. Here, I'll zoom in there. That's the Pipestone Fault. Here's the Monroe Fault, and they come off the Porcupine-Dester fault zone. So as you can see, these just riddled with past producing mines, including one right here. That's that high grade mine that's on High Gold's property. Now, what I find quite interesting about this area, and me and Darwin spoke about it, is these faults, and these are deep structural or deep crustal faults. They kind of go parallel here. that is a good area to be looking for gold, and it's no wonder that there was a gold mine found there. But then you can also see that there's it kind of comes to a fork in the road, and that's another structural place where that. So they've got a strong structural story. They know they have high grade gold veins in that area. The area is riddled with gold mines. They've been able to package together a patchwork of projects into a much larger. They've got Monroe Croesus and also the Golden Mile. And Golden Mile looks interesting to me as well, because you've got the intersection of that Pipestone Fault and this other Muskogee River Fault. And right at the intersection, that's a good place to be looking for gold as well. So the project that has everybody's attention, and rightfully so, is their Alaska project. They hit some phenomenal grades. Let's just pull that up just so you can see some of the grades. 578 grams per ton of gold and 2,200 grams of silver over 6.4 meters. Another one, 18.7, so just a little over a half an ounce per gold, over 56 meters. One thing that I think gets lost on people sometimes is when you're looking for high grade gold, what you need is continuity. And when you're getting it over multiple meters, that's an indication that you have a very powerful pumping system or gold mineralizing system. And it's got high grade gold in it. Those are the kind of things that can have continuity. So I believe strongly that they've got something very special in Alaska. But I also think that they've got a heck of a good shot of finding something serious in Ontario, in Timmins. That's a fantastic camp. And they've got a great, well-located targets that have basically never been explored using modern technology. Now these guys are rolling up their sleeves. They've started drilling. Keep your eyes and ears open, because I think you're going to hear some good stuff from their Timmins project. And they still got a bunch of stuff pending in drill holes from their Alaska. So keep your eyes open for news out of High Gold. I think they're going to have a fantastic news flow. They still have a modest valuation, and I'm expecting it to go much higher. Next is Labrador Gold announced today that they've intersected 76.24 grams per ton gold over 5.5 meters and defined a new footwall zone at their Kingsway project. Now, again, as I was mentioning earlier when I was talking about true precious metals, these orogenic veins, and that's what Labrador Gold is looking for as well, they're not easy to find. They take work. These guys have millions, I think it's over $20 million in the treasury. So they're well financed. In fact, I just had an interview with him as well. That was Roger Moss of Labrador. We spoke about a week and a half ago, a little over a week ago. We did sort of an overview of everything. And I really like these guys' chances to make important discoveries. Not only do they have their big vein discovery, they're along that same fault system as the Newfound Gold. That's the Appleton Fault. They own about 12 kilometers of it. They've also got an interesting secondary faulting system on that project as well. In fact, we went into it quite a bit in that interview. So I invite you to check out that interview, because I think you'll realize that the Lab Gold guys are a really smart group of guys. They've got a strong team, they've got strong funding, they're in a great location. They're finding high grade gold in many locations throughout their project. They're finding it on the surface, they're finding it in pristine gold grains, they're finding it with the truth machine. Again, these orogenic vein systems are not easy to figure out. What you need is, you need a crustal fault like the Appleton. You need to know that there's high grade gold in that system, that plumbing system. They've already shown that. But then it takes work. It's not simple. As I said, as an example before, Kirkland Lake Gold, they found the Fosterville mine was there for 20 years before they found the Swan Zone. And the Swan Zone made that mine into a major profit machine because it's so high grade. So it took a long time to find the Swan Zone. These guys are focused on trying to find something like the Swan Zone. They've got the right kind of structural story. They've got the high grade mineralization. They've got secondary faulting of the right kind of secondary faulting. I think this one is another relatively cheap company considering where they are and what they're looking for. And I don't think you want to miss out on this one. Labrador Gold Corp, LAB is their stock symbol. They trade on the venture exchange. LabradorGold.com is their website. Look over this recent news release and then go back and check out their other news releases, because as you'll see, 338 grams in sampling. That's their pristine gold grains that we talked about at their Golden Glove project. 128 grams of gold over 1.12 meters at their big vein. 44 grams over 4 meters at big vein. Labrador announces till results, 311 mostly pristine gold grains. We talked about why that's important. Pristine gold grains come from a nearby source. They got that target. Some are calling it the pristine target. Labrador intersects 276 grams over 0.5 meters at big vein. Most of their focus has been on big vein to date, but and rightfully so. They're finding high grade gold with the truth machine, and they're trying to figure out that veins and the complex faulting. In this case, that complexity is not a bad thing. That's what has happened at the Swan Zone at Fosterville. You had complex faulting, and that's why it was difficult to find. But when you find something like that, you've got a company maker. And I think that this company has a lot of shots at finding one or more company making zone on their property. So as I said, take a look at Labrador Gold, LAB. The final company today is Kenorland. I'll make this one quick because it was they announced that they've closed a $5.2 million strategic investment from Sumitomo Metal Mining of Canada. It's a big Japanese mining company, and they put 5.2 million in at $1 per share, which is a premium from where the stock was trading when they announced this. Still a premium. I think today the Kenorland is trading at about let's see here, KLD today is trading at 76 cents. This was just a couple days ago that they announced this. But I always like to look for hidden gems in news releases. So one of those not so hidden gems is that Sumitomo put $5.2 million. Obviously, they like the company. They like what they're doing. They're partnered with Kenora land on their Fretet project. I did an interview with Zach Flood recently. Again, you can find it on the Rocks and Stocks News YouTube channel. We talked a lot about their Fretet project. I think they've got something very special there. And when their partner puts 5.2 million into the company, I think that tells you that they think it's special as well. But later in the news release, they talk about the strategic investment. They talk about the right that they can add a person to the board of directors. Now, this is the hidden gem. I don't want to mangle his first name, but Mr. Fukuda is the nominee from Sumitomo to the Kenora Land board. He graduated from university. So here's the juicy stuff. He joined Sumitomo in '86. He's held various different positions. Was a senior geologist at the Hishikari gold mine. Why that's important is Hishikari is one of the highest grade gold vein systems in the world. And the Kenora Land and Sumitomo are looking for a high grade vein system at their Fretet project. So the senior geologist of Sumitomo, who understands Hishikari, is going to be helping them with their future work as a member of the board. He's also worked on senior geologist at the Pogo mine in Alaska. Kenora Land has projects in Alaska. So, and he's also a board member of Tech Resources. This is a hell of a pedigree, smart guy, and he knows the kind of gold systems that Kenora Land is looking for. I think that this is a much bigger news release than most, and that's what happens a lot of time. People, they tend to read the headlines, maybe the first paragraph of a news release. They don't really dig into it and look for additional information that's important. Mr. Fukuda is definitely important. He understands, as I said, he understands these high-grade vein systems, and now he can help them out with that, with their efforts with their efforts looking for the high-grade vein system at Fretet. So there you go, folks. Had some good companies to talk about. They come out with good news. I wanted to sort of give you my insights into why I think it's important. But as always, my shows are for information purposes only. It's important for you to do your homework and speak with your financial advisors before making any investment decisions. I always stress how important it is to do your homework, because when you do your homework, you understand better the companies you're investing in. Doesn't matter the 4 companies I'm talking about or any company you're invested in. And being more informed makes you make better investment decisions. Making better investment decisions will give you better results in the stock market. On that note, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.